Welcome to Inferno. I am Jerry. This is Rauta, and Inferno 2024 is the event. But obviously, we're not at the venue nor at the official hotel. By no means, this is a little bit different place by some Norwegian black metal heads doing a little bit of local thing. And because the name is quite fucking difficult for me to pronounce, I'll let them do the honors. But first, let's introduce the guests of the hour. Sure, let's start with you. Who are you and why on earth are you in this interview?
I'm Svik and I play, I do the vocals.
You do the vocals. All right. What about you, sir?
I'm Tybalt and I play drums.
Yeah, I'm Hazelgard and I play guitars.
I am Sturt and I play bass.
What about you, sir?
I am Den Gamle and I play the other guitar.
All right. And who wants to probably say how the band name is actually said?
Tilintetgjort.
And what does it mean?
It means like obliterated.
All right.
Or like made into nothing.
Annihilated, basically.
Yes.
That's right. Okay, so these are all the kind of words that have been used many times over the years, whether it's about death metal, black metal, thrash metal, and so forth. You decided to go the Norwegian way with the name, which is not that easy to, with the international waters, you probably get misspelled a lot of times, or at least badly pronounced. Why did you want to go so strongly with the Norwegian name?
Because it was available. There was no band taking it before.
Like scrolling through metal archives and like, oh damn, it's tasty.
Yeah.
It's a really fucking cool name because directly translated it means made into nothing.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different than what you could...
Yeah, it's not about destroying stuff, right? It's till intet, so to nothing.
Oh yeah, now it makes sense in even my dumb Finnish brain. I get it because like very different language, and probably even more so in terms of English. When I was listening to your music, I noticed it was, first of all, labeled on Metal Archives like an avant-garde black metal, which I found a little bit strange because I get a lot of old Gorgoroth vibes, a little bit maybe older in the mix, very Norwegian to say the least, in the very 1990s ways. So one could say that even though your band is like 30 years late, it sounds like this could be 1992 and around that era.
Yeah, around that era, especially in Norway, I think all bands were different.
Yeah.
Emperor were different from Enslaved and blah, blah, blah. So, we do have prog inspiration, but, that is probably the era that inspires us the most. Because, after that, like with most scenes, things come a little bit narrow.
Yeah, one could really say that when you compare, say, 1990 or 1992 versus whatever happened like late 90s, 2000, it's more like stripping down a lot of elements that you, at least in certain ways, seem to be bringing back.
Yeah. I mean, we just.
I mean, we feel like a lot of the stuff that comes out now just has the exact same sound, the exact same kind of riffs, the exact same vocal techniques, and it's
the same kind of production.
Yeah,
especially.
And we're extremely bored of that. So that's not what we want to do. I mean, we come from like several have played in a different band before, which is played a lot of like I guess late 80s style extreme metal.
Okay.
So a lot of that influence is also in there. Listening to bands like the thrash bands like Darkness Descends, Dark Angel, stuff like this.
So American and German thrash metal and like
that's pretty much the beginning of thrash, isn't it?
Yeah, well, yes, definitely. Like, my point is rather than, well, everybody who has been in the scene long enough knows that a lot of Norwegian black metal came basically from guys with the background of death metal. I mean, whether we're talking about, bands like Burzum or Emperor or Enslaved or whatever, you can pretty much figure out they all had demo-level bands playing death metal. And obviously, thrash metal was part of that. I mean, it's part of my DNA as well, being the same age and all. But you were somewhat younger, I would estimate. A little bit, maybe not the guys who would be doing music in this, late 80s, early 90s.
That depends on who you ask.
Yeah, that is the
Figure that out.
We are from 1980 to 1996.
Yeah.
So some of us were quite early in black metal.
Yeah.
And some were not even born then.
Well, that kind of it's natural.
But it's really nice, to bring in people from different time periods in a way, because it makes a different mix when you make music together. So you get something a bit more original, and you get like the old ones in the band that like try to keep it more old school. So I think it was Ivar from Enslaved that said, when black metal first started, it was like everybody was on the starting point, and when the gun went off, everybody ran in a different direction.
Well, yeah.
So we just tried to imagine going back to that, not being inspired by anything later than 94, 95 maybe. And like imagining we're back in that early 90s black metal scene and just going our own way.
So you're basically a time capsule. Like, would it be unfair? I don't mean this in a negative way, but would it be unfair to call you in that sense like a retro band?
Yeah, no.
Either way.
Exactly.
Let's not be inspired. Yeah. I don't think, because we also obviously we don't want to just stay in the 90s. We also want to go our own direction, but I don't know. It's obviously very retro inspired, but I feel it's unfair to.
What you're saying is that if we were a band in the late 90s, mid 90s, we would have gone our own way, like all the other bands did. So it's in that sense retro, but still it's our own path. So carving our way through throughout the next 10 years, we might have the same sort of progression towards our own niche sound. And that is kind of the point. Because early in black metal, everybody had their own sound. You can listen to Emperor, and you can listen to Burzum, Dark Throne, everyone. You know which band it is.
Definitely.
Just by listening to it, because it's unique. It has its own sound. And now everybody's lost that, because everybody sounds the same.
Do you think that in terms of like keeping it very Norwegian, not comparing so much to other countries and scenes, do you think that the so-called trademark things like, Tutten and Grieghallen and stuff like that made it to more like come together, like, okay, this is the default sound, this is how you want to do it? Or was it more like that the band's like, hey, those guys did this kind of sound, we need to do more of them, and vice versa?
I think with the Tutten and Grieghallen, he kind of made quite different albums. I think when the Norwegian black metal band started going to Sweden to record their albums, then it started to get really one-stream-sided, production on things.
So should we kill the Swedes?
Yeah, fuck this.
Fuck the Swedes.
Now, talking about different kind of vocals and all that stuff, you have plenty of clean vocals, which are obviously still not too typical in black metal. I mean, whenever we are talking about clean vocals in black metal and beyond, then it's like, okay, well, it's Prognaga and the stuff like where you have, say, Garm and, ICS Vortex and whatever. And then again, it's not really sounding black metal. So you're more like having the kind of early 90s and that is rough black metal sound, but also those kind of clean vocals, which are not typical. How to say, decided this was versus more like, hey, let's see what it...
I think we play off each other's strengths when it comes to that, It's a case of, if someone can do certain things, then we'll explore that. Like with Svik, he's got a really, strong like range of vocal ability. So we're going to explore that.
It's more about utilizing the instruments that you have available, the sounds, right? That's probably why you can kind of slap on the avant-garde label. It's not avant-garde, right? Doesn't sound like... If you search for an avant-garde band, you get a quite different band.
Yeah.
The only thing is that we open the possibilities, right?
Yeah, I would say, like a long time, this is just my opinion and everybody's feel free to disagree, but I think what you are essentially doing is the early ways of Norwegian black metal. So the early start of second wave black metal in general. And as such, calling it nowadays progressive or avant-garde black metal is more like relabeling an old thing, because you could say a lot of things. Hey, say first Enslaved album. That's quite fucking progressive and in a way more kind of a varied versus whatever they happen with Frost and so forth. But nobody would say, yeah, it's avant-garde black metal because it was their way before any kind of avant-garde label.
I think it's kind of a way for us to set ourselves apart from, because we're a new band, so if we just called ourselves black metal, then we might have been slumped in with all the other stuff that's coming out that we don't really feel that big of a connection to. So calling it avant-garde is yes, it opens up possibilities, and it also allows us to, I don't know, it's just a way to disconnect from the...
I think the problem is that if you look at bands like Ulver, the early albums, and maybe Dødheimskar and Bebuens Enda, and all of these bands that are lumped into black metal.
Yep, they are very.
But like it's not Gorgoroth. It's very different. So the question is, what genre is it? And nobody knows. Like this is kind of like how black metal was when there was only death metal. Everybody said, "Oh well, we play extreme metal."
Yeah.
So if there is a name for it later on, that's fine. Right now, it's black metal because the closest thing is black metal. Right.
Yeah, definitely. And in your case, I think it's just kind of a misleading people when people create lots of bunch of different labels. Okay, so this is not even black metal like with the avant-garde or whatever, but you're like, this is dissonant avant-garde black metal with melodic tendencies for death metal. And then you go to a live and like, hey, I'm looking for horror. Do you mean body horror? With themes of cycle? Oh, yeah, fuck off. Okay, but talking about your music, you said you're a new band and people now browsing the links and all that stuff will figure it out. How important it is to find your like own unique sound as in order to, make your mark, define like this is Tilintetgjort and this is how it should, or will your next album be something possibly quite different?
I think a lot of the early black metal mentality was about doing the opposite of what was normal, what everybody did. Like when I went to Grieghallen to record an album, and I'm like, yeah, here we have all the guitar stacks. Can I use that small one in the corner? All this stuff that was like just kind of being difficult. Like, no, we're not doing it the normal way. We're opposite. Whatever that is, we're going for that. Doesn't matter if it is a thing that people think will work or not. We just do opposite, And I think we have set ourselves into that a bit too. So, with the modern scene today in 2024, we just want to do opposite of whatever is normal.
With caveats. It's not all opposite, but
no.
In that sense, we did track live. It's no click. There's no metronome. There's no in ears. None of that bullshit. Because you don't really get a band playing organically if it's all on click, and you get like click cues, and it becomes static.
Yeah,
it's boring.
They take all the drum hits and they like make sure that it's exactly on ways.
Yeah, I think it makes more mechanic in a way, like drum machine and all that stuff. One thing that I also paid attention when I was listening to the album and figuring out like what all there is that you have quite a rough killer sound. I mean, it's not really clean. And I mean, whether we're talking about very super produced black metal bands,
it's lo-fi,
funeral and the like, which are like, some would even say plastic in a way, like kind of a machine made. And then there's obviously super raw bands, which are like lo-fi. You can hear like, what the fuck they're even playing? This is like lost in the layers. Your sound is kind of organic, but it's rough. It's not super raw, but it's definitely on the rawer side of things as opposed to say...
It's very lo-fi.
Yeah, it's definitely the lo-fi side of things. So how intentional it is to have these rougher edges.
It was actually we planned on having a much more clear, crispy production mix on it, and then this just kind of happened, and it struck us as quite unique, and it has its own little sound. I think the next album, I don't know if it will sound like this. We might end up in a different sphere. So it definitely wasn't intentional.
Well, you know, the sound on it, we had 3 days in studio recording everything, and then 3 days mixing it. And we just came in and said, like, the sound of Pentagram by Gorgoroth, that kind of sound.
Yeah, because I was exactly thinking the Gorgoroth album was like, this is way before God joined kind of a thing.
But of course we didn't get the same sound, but we got something else.
We did use a lot of...
Because of the time pressure, you know.
Yeah, we did have that, yeah. But we used a lot of equipment, very old equipment as well. Yeah.
Very analog, that is.
Yeah, it's very analog.
Yeah.
It's recorded digitally, but mixed through analog equipment.
Now, talking about the lyrics, that is, of course, one of the mandatory questions when you're talking about especially black metal, but I think in music in general. How you want to explain? Who wants to explain? Is it you as the lyricist, like the vocalist, or is there some secret lyricist in the band? What are your lyrics all about? What are the main topics?
It's a grand mishmash of people's ideas. Everybody writes small parts, and then somebody writes more. And we even have people outside of the band that write lyrics for us.
And then we try to bring it all together in kind of one mashup.
Cohesive.
Like in the album, Kvikksølvdrømmer, that's like Mercury Dreams. And the thought behind that was like an alchemist experimenting with mercury and stuff. And mercury, of course, makes you crazy. So the crazy dreams you would have after becoming poisoned by mercury. And in a way, then every song was a different mercury dream he had. And then at the end with Dommedagsmonument, the very long track at the end, it has kind of theme that goes through the whole session of searching for an answer, like in death, in a way, and just finding out that there is no answer and you just die. But the way there, you know, you go crazy and you have a lot of feverish dreams, and so we just try to put ourselves in that kind of setting and write lyrics out from that.
This is the nice part about this band is that everybody has some sort of input. So the songs are ever changing until it's published and recorded.
Yeah.
So when somebody is like, well, maybe we should layer some of this, and maybe we should add some of that, and maybe we should change this, then we change it, and we try different stuff, and we all come up with something, and it eventually works. And that's why you have the very chaotic song structure.
All right. Now, this brings me, I guess, in a way, expected question, because a lot of bands, you probably know, there are bands with one captain, maybe one captain, a lieutenant, or something like definitely a leader of the ship, and the guy who is like, okay, I'm second in command, and the rest, well, they do their job, but they don't get to decide how you go for, say, certain sound or certain lyrics or whatever. And they are usually the kind of bands who like choose one or two people in their interviews as well. Mm-hmm. Now, coming myself from various settings of different bands, I've seen, well, few things in life. I was wondering how democratic you guys are, having these 5 guys in the interview and bouncing these lyrics back and forth. Do you have a captain in this ship?
This is a very strange democratic. Maybe democracy may lead to some inefficiencies here and there, but still, it's nice to be able to collaborate in this way, because I believe you get a more interesting totality,
an interesting dynamic,
kind of strict rules in a way. Like we throw away maybe 90% of the material we make, because like every riff has to matter. every riff throughout the song has to be something that's like, this is a fucking
Just
riff.
Yeah.
So everybody's aware that somebody can just say, no, this riff doesn't work.
Yeah, take it to another band.
Yes, and we try a new riff. And
we all have other bands, so
yes.
That actually helps a lot of that. That's why I was guessing yes, because I mean there like when there's like, okay, these guys kind of left behind. Everybody else is, hey, you have the great riffs, you have the good ones. No, just joking, but because I was wondering, like when you definitely at some point gonna disagree on something, how you solve it? Fist fights, drinking beer or not?
I think it's ultimately majority.
Yeah.
The majority, gets the vote.
So at least,
But we can. Yeah, right. So we can.
Yeah.
We can kind of sort it out.
We bitch a bit and be like, fuck that, blah 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 blah.
But I mean, we make it like how everybody, predominantly gets, or at least are happy.
Nobody's been stabbed yet.
No, not yet.
Not the 12022 joking aside, of course, because everybody had different roles, be it drums, be it vocals, be it guitars, whatever. Do you have also the ability to say, like, as you, for example, a vocalist, like, you should really change that riff a little bit, or your bass lines, you have to add something.
Well, definitely.
Yeah. But like
they can say, like, this fill, remove it.
Yeah. Well, for example,
vocals in a part, and I say, but there's no room for vocals. It's too massive. We need to tweak something. I can say that. It's all a discussion, right? So and that's the nice part, because then you get a very strange mix. It's not a singular entity, right?
It's all very communal.
So
Evidently,
it's a nice break from that.
Yeah. It's a really cool project to be in because, like we said, everyone plays in different bands. So this band is really an outlet for us to just explore the five of us and to really figure out, like, what makes us tick, what we really like, and to have the product become like a fierce result of the five of us. So it's not like, maybe some song Håvard writes all the riffs or maybe, but it's collaborative the whole way through, which is definitely very different from any other band I've been in. And it's so compelling to play in Tilintetgjort.
That sounds like fantastic, like almost like a dream come true. Like I can imagine a lot of bands wanted to be in your shoes, like how these guys can, keep it together. Everybody's equal, and you get all democratic, and everybody's now waiting, like, when it's gonna break up.
Yeah.
Now the question though, because you have different projects, side bands or whatever, which bands and why take priority? Say there is a offer on the table for tour or individual gigs. How do you choose which one gets to pick the band or gig or whatever?
Nothing has crashed yet, so we haven't been in that situation.
So it's like,
No.
Yeah, it's
But Tilintetgjort, I think, is like the priority band for all of us.
Well, I will say, for instance, I play in a different band that's right now going on a tour in England, but I didn't join it before, way after we booked this gig. So, of course, this was I'd already reserved myself. That also comes into play, what you already have booked.
yeah, of course. I mean, you have to stick to the agreements and all that stuff.
Bullshit.
Now, how much you guys demo stuff before you actually handle the recording phase? Because you have your own studio setting. This is really beautiful. You have the rehearsal room. You have all the equipment here.
Yeah, we get a pre-production going. Yeah.
we have way too many demos.
Yeah.
To be fair, like, that's how we write songs. We record them.
So you jam all the time, or do you just like, hey, I brought some riffs and or?
Yeah, exactly. But usually somebody brings a riff, puts on a demo, share it with other guys, and they say, oh, it's cool, or, it's not cool.
Like, take it back home.
Yeah.
Come back with your riff.
But when it's
Your
cool,
version.
we bring it into the studio here, record it one more time with all musicians, then we add stuff. If we add more riffs or, have more ideas or cut some stuff and trim it, Then we, after a while, we learn it as a band, and play it in recording room. And then, after a few rehearsals, we know ish how we want it to sound, all the small details and stuff. But then again,
in the 3 last months before we record it, we change the structure and we add lots of parts, and that becomes the final result. Just to make it confusing.
Yeah, like the Monument album.
Oh,
I think we had like 20 different versions of that before the final one.
It was 3 songs.
Different versions.
Yes.
It's really important to listen to that song because the song is 3 songs. So think about it.
With the noise part.
With the noise part. So think about it as 3 songs. And when you hear that, it changes kind of. And you're tired. Stop listening to the song.
So you get to... All right. Now, another question, what is often, I don't know if it's interesting so much from a fan point of view, but more like a musician point of view, but are you more a live band or studio band? Like, which comes first, recording an album or playing it live to the audience?
I think it's both. They're both elements of
Pointing at your head, which one would you choose first?
Me personally, live. Okay. Actually,
but the recording is live, so live and studio is not really too different.
I really like, is it more important for you to like, hey, audience, guys, you want to see your
No.
or more like
studio all the way? Yeah. Music is important.
Yeah.
Because I know there are lots of bands who like can go both ways and all that stuff. Now we're trying to conclude. I want to leave you rehearse and all that stuff before we go like 2 hours and all that stuff. Now I want to take your turns, but some kind of a word of wisdom what you would give to your younger version before you had any of those bands, and that younger version is now ready to embark on a journey to metal. What mistake you would tell your younger version to avoid?
Oh, the mistakes. I would probably tell myself to focus more on recording than rehearsing.
All right. What about you, sir?
I think it's always been important to keep an open mind, not have so much your own way, and listen. Learn your craft. It don't take, amount of days, months. It'll take years, be patient and practice.
What about you?
I think I'd have to say to like not doubt myself and just do whatever the fuck I want, because I did doubt a lot and I haven't done all the fuck I want.
I think that's a really, really good advice. I think what a lot of younger people should do, like, go for it. You're going to have regrets later.
Exactly.
Yeah, for me it was like, just do it. Don't wait for people. Don't sit around for years waiting, just do it. If you have an idea, have a plan, just get on with it and make it happen.
All right. What about you? The final word.
Well, I don't have so many regrets. I'm pretty happy that whatever path I took here in life led me to this moment, but finish high school. Yeah.
So, a lot of good advices. Now, a general question. What can we expect, say, 2 years, 5 years from now on with the band?
Hopefully some more albums.
Yeah, a couple more albums out. Hopefully we have gotten to play overseas.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we bought our own country.
We already have a gig. I was in Germany, so
it's over AC.
Yeah,
it's outside
slightly.
It counts. Okay, any favorite band? If you could pick any band out in the world, existing or disbanded, a band you could totally like. This would be my dream band to warm up for. What it would be?
Arto.
Niflame.
Buren, which we did.
That's not like a lot of a dream.
Oh wow, that's actually a difficult question.
The Beatles.
For us, I'd always say Iron Maiden. Me,
Oh, well.
always.
What about you?
I will Dark Throne. Dark Throne is was my most important influence.
That is in my personal opinion as well. All right, guys. Thank you for your time. Now, to the audience side, you over there, open up your favorite streaming services if you're not daring to go blindly and buying them. Check out these guys' music. It's fascinating. It's interesting. It's old school. It's a little bit mixed bag of various goodies, and I think it's worth your time, worth checking out. These guys have a lot of premise, so don't make the mistake and check them out later when you're old and fuck. Anyway, this is all there is to know for now. Maybe we will see in a few years what there is to, and links provided to the band. So off we go, explore, enjoy the music, and stay tuned what these guys are up to. This is Rauta. This is at Inferno 2024. Take care. Stay metal.
Helt sitt.
Viva la downs.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And now, before we let you go and leave ourselves out, thank you. To you as well. We'll take